And before we get starting today, let's meet our skaters.
All right, getting it started with Outlaws Roller Derby from Auburn, California. We have number 17, Scary Potter. Number 181, Stitches. Number 19, MC Jammer. Number 208, Whoa Nelly. Number 241. All right, number 241, Jabberwocky. Number 3, Delta Bruise. Number 333, Shazam. Number 35, Wasabi Demon. Number 420, Shred Zeppelin. Number 444, Traumagachi. Number 626, Gritty in Pink. Number 69, Odessa. Number 72, Hot Rod Jane. Number 76, Tinker Brawl. Number 831, Wile E. Coyote. And number 00, Marla Strangler. And 1322, Murder Mittens. That's your Outlaw Roller Derby team. Coached by Allison Chains, Minnie Malice, and Coach Hyde. Let's send it over to Mitch for Carquinez.
And let's hear it for your Carquinez Quad Squad. Number 3, Mother Mayhem. Number 4, Lady Snowfox. Number 8, Dazzlin. Number 11, Kitty Magic. Number 13, Kim Reaper. Number 17, Lady Blaze. Number 72, Silver Storm. Number 86, Gore. Number 808, Tank. Number 98, Michelada. Number 212, Raw Carnage. Number 404, Chaos. Number 709, Brutal Noodle. Number 802, Loose Cannon. Number 5150, Poison Envy. And our alts, number 0925, RL Slimer. And number 241, Major Inc. And let's hear it for our bench staff for the CQS, Oxytoxin, Gnarly, She-Ra Badass, and Frightening McQueen. Just under 2 minutes till our first whistle. Now is a perfect time to pick up some snacks. Many thanks to Manny's Steakhouse in Vallejo for generously donating delicious food for our officials. Manny's has been so kind to donate food for many CQS events. Bon appetit to our beloved zebras. And thank you kindly to Nick the Greek in Vallejo. Thanks again for that delicious baklava. And finally, thank you to Starbucks Coffee at Admiral Callahan and I-80. Caffeine makes everything and anything possible. Gracias for keeping us going. And there's our first rolling whistle of the day, and the 5-second call. Here it comes. And we are started. There's our lead jam immediately declared for the Outlaws. Jamming for the Outlaws, that is number 69, Odessa. And jamming for CQS, number 709, Brutal Noodle. Brutal Noodle is out of the pack. Odessa now working their way through the pack, and there's a track cut call. They're going to get sent to the penalty box, which means we have our first power jam of the day in our first jam. That is power jam for CQS. Brutal Noodle looking for an opening up front. There's the no pack call, and Noodle is through. 4 points on the board for CQS.
Brutal Noodle is going to be trying to come around the track a second time, looking for her blockers to give some offense. Gets a little bit stuck on the Outlaws wall, and there's an out of play in the front, so Noodle is out.
Another 4 on the scoreboard there for Brutal Noodle of CQS. Just under a minute left here in this first jam. Another no pack call, and Noodle is through.
Looks like Odessa is back on the track as well. Coming up quick behind Noodle.
Looks like an illegal conduct call on the track for, I believe that was an Outlaw blocker. Yes, that was 1-7 Scary Potter, illegal position.
And
go ahead.
This will be a 2-minute jam because our lead jammer went to the penalty box.
Yes, indeed. Speaking of our lead jammer, they are back now on the track. Number 69 Odessa from Outlaws. And there is the end of that first jam.
All right, lining up for our second jam. There's that 5-second call. And it looks like we have 333 Shazam jamming for the Outlaws, getting lead jam after they broke through the pack. And Gorgeous is also out, or Gore, yeah, is also out. That's 8-6 for Carquinez Quad Squad. Shazam making it out a second time. Back through the pack. And looks like Gore is out as well with a little bit of help from her offense. Oh. Taking a fall to the outside of the track. There we go. When a skater is hit out of bounds, they need to re-enter the track behind the skater that hit them out of bounds. Otherwise, they'll get a cut track penalty. Gore is fighting her way through the pack, through the Outlaws blockers. Nice move from the Carquinez blockers there, hitting Shazam out of the track. Oh. And that's a cut track penalty on 333 from Outlaws. So Shazam will start the next jam in the penalty box, starting with a power jam for Carquinez Quad Squad.
Coming into this jam number 3, as we said, Shazam from the Outlaws serving for a track cut penalty in that last jam. And jamming for CQS, that is number 802.
Loose Cannon. CQS doing some good offense to get their jammer through again before the opposing jammer gets out of the penalty box. And Loose is through again. Ooh, a little jammer hit there. Trying to slow down the opposing jammer. Outlaws Shazam getting stuck on Carquinez wall there. Strong blockers. Loose gets recycled to the back of the pack. And that's a direction call on one of the CQS blockers.
Yes, that is direction call on 5150 Poison Envy. They're going to spend some time in the box. Loose says, no problem, I'm going to get through anyway. Shazam is not far behind.
Breaking that wall apart, wow. And calls it off.
There's the call.
Looks like for this next jam, we have MC Jammer from Outlaws and Lady Snowfox from CQS.
Yes, indeed. And it looks like it's going to be MC Jammer who makes it out first for that lead jam position for Outlaws. Lady Snowfox looking for an opening on the inside track, almost finds it, and then that 3-wall gets back together, but not for long.
Another pass from MC Jammer breaking through the wall, and calls it off just as Lady Snowfox approaches the pack.
And that was 1-1 Kitty Magic getting sent to the penalty box for an illegal contact call. So they're going to start this next jam with 30 seconds in the box.
This next jam is Wile E. Coyote from the Outlaws and Kim Reaper.
That's actually Brutal Noodle now, last second change there.
Ooh. Looks like Coyote is out.
Number 7-2 from CQS getting sent to the penalty box for a forearm call there. And there's both jammers coming back around to the back of the engagement zone. First with the Outlaws, then CQS.
Nice. CQS only has 2 blockers on the track, but they were able to push that jammer out of bounds. Meanwhile, Noodle is fighting against 4 blockers, and the jam is called off. The score is 34 Carquinez and 38 Outlaws.
And that's a team time out for CQS.
Ooh, a little point adjustment. It's actually 35 CQS to 38 Outlaws.
Going into jam number 6 after this timeout. Really close match here. 3-point bout. And while we wait, we want to say a big thank you to our venue, the Solano County Fairgrounds. Don't forget to come back to the Solano County Fair June 12th through the 15th.
Also, thank you to our officials. Couldn't do this without you. We have skating officials and non-skating officials making this bout happen.
Coming out of our timeout here is a 5-second call at the jam line for Carquinez Quad Squad, number 709, Brutal Noodle, who is in that penalty box. And for the Outlaws, number 208, Whoa Nelly.
Really nice blocking from the Carquinez here, keeping that jammer contained despite their attempt to do offense.
Absolutely, and that's a tough thing to do when you are in a negative power jam, to hold that opposing jammer in place.
Oh, looks like we got a call for
I believe that's 2 illegal conducts there getting sent to the penalty box, 1 for the Outlaws and 1 for CQS.
And Brutal Noodle is out of the penalty box and out of the pack, breaking through. Yeah, a penalty for Outlaws. That's 2-4-1. Jabberwocky is a directional penalty. You have to hit people in the direction of the track. You cannot hit people in the opposite direction.
And I think that was a 4th penalty there, too, so 4 penalties in that jam. That's a lot of penalties. I believe that last one was a forearm.
Oh,
yes, indeed it was, for number 9-8, Michelada of CQS. So we're not going to see a whole lot of skaters at this jam line for this upcoming bout.
Both teams have 2 blockers in the box. So we're starting with only 2 blockers on the track for each team.
There's the 5-second call. And at the jam line for Outlaws, number 7-2, Hot Rod Jane.
That's Odessa.
That's Odessa.
And Gore for CQS.
That's correct.
Odessa gets through and calls it off, preventing CQS from scoring any points that jam.
Really nice little defensive move there. You love to see the short game in roller derby. You know, I'm going to get that lead jam, I'm going to get my 4, and I'm done.
Yeah, that's right. It also keeps you from getting less tired. So these are long games. It gets exhausting by the end of it. Better to get some points and get a rest while you can.
There's the whistle into jam number 8 at the jam line for Outlaws, number 333, Shazam, and for CQS, number 802, Loose Cannon. It's going to be Shazam who gets that lead jam status assessed, but Loose is not far behind. Both jammers now working on their scoring passes. Let's see what happens here.
Nice hit out on the jammer there.
That's right. That's the hit out on number 333, Shazam, looking for an opening on the outside. Meanwhile, Loose takes the inside and is able to get through, get those points, and gets back around to the back of the engagement zone. There's the call off there. I see 2 additional points for CQS and 3 points there for Outlaws.
This is such a close game still. It's 4 points away. 45 CQS and 49 Outlaws. It's really anybody's game at this point.
Absolutely. We're going into jam number 9 with just under 18 minutes left in this first half.
Jamming for the Outlaws, we have number 19, MC Jammer, and number 404, Chaos.
Oh, and that's a track cut for MC Jammer. So we are now in a power jam for Carquinez Quad Squad.
Chaos is trying to push their way out of the pack. The blockers must stay in the engagement zone, which is the largest group of blockers from both teams. So CQS made a smart move there, staying to the back and forcing the Outlaws to get spread out so they aren't able to block as strongly as together.
Absolutely. Once there's no central mass of skaters, you're going to hear that no pack call from our refs. And once that no pack call happens, you must, 1, rejoin the pack, and 2, not make any further contact, which allows that jammer to get through.
Both jammers back out on the track again, stuck behind the blockers from each team. And that looks like the jammer is out, 404. Making another lap around. but the Outlaws jammer is also out and calls it off. It's now tied at 49-49. This is an exciting game. Coming up in this next jam, we have Brutal Noodle for CQS and Wile E. Coyote for Outlaws. There's the whistle. Starting off strong with some offense from CQS, trying to get Noodle out of there, but they get reabsorbed into the Outlaws pack and breaks through and gets lead jam. That's lead jam for Carquinez. Outlaws jammer is also out.
That's 2 illegal conduct calls there for skaters. It looks like 1 on CQS and perhaps, yep, that's right, 1 on Outlaws. That's Lady Blaze from CQS and Gritty in Pink serving illegal position calls there. They're going to start this next jam sitting in that box, which is no fun, of course.
Pack starting up at the top of the track, trying to put themselves in the best position to catch that jammer right off the line.
Yeah, it looks like that's number 86 Gore from CQS and number
nice.
208 Wonelli.
Nice line work from Gore, sneaking around on the outside line just to get out. Meanwhile, the Outlaws jammer is getting out now, but Gore is going to make it through another time on the outside line. Excellent work.
Nice footwork
Good toe
there.
stop run.
Finding an opening there on the outside track. Sounds like a battle cry out there as Gore comes back around. Number 3, Mother Mayhem from CQS sent to the box. That was a back block there.
That's another 4 points for Gore for CQS, leaving them with an 8-point jam. And Carquinez is in the lead now with 57-53's Outlaw.
At the jam line for Outlaws, number 69 Odessa, and for Carquinez Quad Squad, number 802 Loose Cannon. There's the whistle. I see a track cut call there. We'll see for who that is going to, but I do see Loose Cannon is assessed lead jam status. I believe that was number 241 Jabberwocky from Outlaws getting that track cut. Odessa now out of the pack as well, as Loose is looking to score some points, and score some points they do. That's the full 4 for Loose as they call off the jam. Second penalty, that last jam there for number 7-6 Tinker Brawl. That was a direction call, so they're going to start this next jam. Jam number 13 in the box.
Jamming this time, we have Shazam for Outlaws and Lady Snowfox for Carquinez. Shazam making it out of the pack, despite only having 2 blockers on the pack for Outlaws. Lady Snowfox getting recycled to the back of the pack as Shazam comes around again. And
There's
gets
the track
called on a cut.
Yeah.
Just barely stepped out of bounds there. But since they were lead jammed, it's going to be a 2-minute jam.
Yes, indeed, and it's always sad to see when you're checking back with your ref was, am I good, am I good, am I good, and then there's the call.
I've been there. CQS getting ready to set up some offense for their jammer during this power jam. They want to make sure that there's a clear path for Lady Snowfox to get through this wall. And they get pushed out, but they can just recycle to the back. That's a penalty on one of Outlaw's blockers.
A lot of penalties on our Outlaws there. I didn't quite catch that one for the Outlaws. I believe it was a direction call for number 241 Jabberwocky. But number 5150 Poison Envy from CQS also serving a forearm call as well.
Nice recycle from Mother Mayhem there, making that jammer go all the way to the back of the pack. And there's another cut.
That's another cut for Shazam, our jammer there. So that's the last 15 seconds-ish there. They're going to be sitting in the box, which means they're going to start this next jam with 15 seconds in the box as well.
Lady Snowfox trying to fight through this pack. Almost out, and that's the end of that jam. Good work. That was a long 2 minutes. We're starting off with a power jam for CQS, and our jammer is Brutal Noodle.
There's a 5-second call. Brutal Noodle at the jam line. Shazam still serving that approximately 15 seconds of cut from the previous jam. Noodle working on blockers, trying the outside track, then the in. They're going to step off out of bounds and then cycle back just about 6 inches.
Nice footwork to get through that pack, past the Outlaws blockers.
Very nice, a little bit of pinballing there, but controlled.
And the Outlaws Shazam jammer is back on the track. A little chase down by Michelada, but not fast enough to catch the Outlaws jammer. And Noodle is through again, scoring 4 points and calling off the jam.
All skaters now back on the track for Outlaws. For just a brief second there, we saw just one skater from Outlaws left on the track, which is not a fun situation to be in. We're moving past that now, going into jam number 15. Carquinez leading 72 to Outlaws 55. 9 minutes remaining in this first half.
Our jammers this time are Gore for CQS and MC Jammer for Outlaws. Gore pushing their way past and getting out on the outside line. Really nice footwork there. Followed closely by MC Jammer. Can they catch them?
Absolutely. This is the moment I love to see, where we're going to see possibly Gore trying to pick up as many points as they can, and there it is, the call-off right there. Perhaps just 1 point. We'll see.
Think 0 points. Oh,
0 points.
But hey, sometimes it's better to keep the other team from scoring.
Absolutely. Lots of great footwork from Gore today, we're seeing. I think if they keep this up, they might be in the contention for MVP of this bout. But that remains to be seen. Coming up next into jam number 16 at the jam line for Outlaws, number 831, Wile E. Coyote, and for CQS, number 802, Loose Cannon. Here they go. Wile E. Coyote up front, fighting a strong tripod there. Looks like a multiplayer call there for number 17, Lady Blaze of CQS. And Wile E. Coyote is through, who gets assessed that lead jam status, and they're going to go ahead and call it off. 0 point jam there, going into jam number 17.
Moving right along to jam 16, we have Chaos. 17. Sorry, jam 17. We have Chaos on the line for Carquinez and Whoa Nelly for Outlaws. Outlaws jammer out for lead. And CQS is just got out as well. There you go. Got an out of play front. Whoa Nelly making it through the pack again for 4 points. And calling it off before Chaos can score any.
right before the call-off there, it looks like all skaters from CQS were able to leave the box. I called that multiplayer penalty in jam number 16, but it appears there was 2 multiplayer penalties. That was a multiplayer for 1-7, Lady Blaze, and I believe a multiplayer for 1-3, Kim Reaper. But we're past that now at the jam line for CQS number 709, Brutal Noodle, and for the Outlaws, number 69, Odessa. Odessa up front. They're almost making it through. Looking for an opening there. Can they get that lead jam status? Yes, they can. They are through and are going to start working on some points for the Outlaws. I see Brutal Noodle thinking about taking that star off, but thinks otherwise as they make it through the pack. Odessa looking to score some points here, and they're through as well. There's the full 4 for Outlaws. Noodle coming back around to the back of the pack saying, hey, I can do that too. But there's the call-off from Outlaws. Noodle only able to pick up 3 points there. Just nice 1 net point for the Outlaws. CQS still leading 75 to Outlaws 63. 5.5 minutes remaining in this first half.
Up next we have Gore for CQS and number 333 Shazam for Outlaws. Heading to Jam 19. And Shazam is through the pack with some offense from her team. And Gore is out as well.
There's that fancy footwork on the outside track from Gore again. Really delightful bit of skating to watch.
Silver Storm blocking out that, hitting out that jammer. And Gore is fighting her way through this pack. CQS blockers setting up for another pass from this jammer. And quick catch. And Shazam calls it off. That jam was 7 points for the Outlaws and 4 for Carquinez. Heading into Jam 20, we have MC Jammer for Outlaws and Loose Cannon for CQS.
And they're off. Both jammers looking to take that outside track, but then splitting up after that. Loose Cannon slightly ahead on the outside, but here comes MC Jammer. The lead jam is status assessed to MC and the Outlaws. Now coming back around to the back of the pack. Running almost head first into number 11, Kitty Magic.
But getting knocked out of bounds there.
Looks like a forearm call there for number 626, Gritty in pink of the Outlaws.
Carquinez is doing a great job keeping this jammer contained.
And a direction call for number 35, Wasabi Demon of the Outlaws. And there's the call off from MC Jammer.
We had a star pass there. Michelada with the pivot took the star and was jammer for just a minute before the jam was called off.
Good eye there. That's a 4-point jam for the Outlaws. And they were able to hold CQS scoreless there. Outlaws now catching up with 2.5 minutes remaining in this first half.
But it looks like Outlaws are starting this next jam with 2 blockers in the box. Going to try to catch that jammer with only 2 blockers on the track will be a tough job.
Absolutely, but it's a 5-point game, so anything is possible. CQS leading 79 to Outlaws 74. At the jam line for CQS, number 4, Lady Snow Fox. And for the Outlaws, number 831, Wile E. Coyote.
Getting lead jam. But Lady Snow Fox has made it out and is coming back around the track, hoping to score some points.
Looks like a illegal contact call for number 72, Hot Rod Jane of Outlaws. They're going to be starting in the box for Jam 22. minute and a half remaining here in the first half.
At CQS 79, Outlaws 77. This is a really tight game, keeping it close the whole time.
It's very possible that this jam here will be the last jam of our first half, but nothing is written in stone. Jamming for CQS number 709, Brutal Noodle, and for Outlaws number 208, Whoa Nelly. And it's Whoa Nelly who's going to get that lead jam status assessed, which they want to have so they can score up this game here. But we will see what happens. Brutal Noodle working on some blockers and is through as well. The next few moments here should be pretty intense as Will Nelly decides what they want to do. Will Nelly is through. That's the full 4 for the Outlaws. Noodle coming through as well, working on those last 2 blockers. There's the no pack call, and Noodle is through. Will Nelly says, hey, I'm still fresh. Let's get through this. They're going to pick up the full 4 and call off the jam. Well done. Really well thought out. Outlaws now in the lead. 85 to Carquinez Quad Squad's 83. And that takes us to the end of the first half. It's a 2-point game.
Well done. It's an exciting matchup. We'll be back. Welcome back to half 2 of this game, Carquinez Quad Squad versus Outlaws Roller Derby. We'll get started in just a few minutes here. I have a fun fact to share. Did you know CQS's very, very first bout was scheduled on this day in 2020? So happy 5-year anniversary to the bout that never was. Hashtag thanks COVID. And glad you could join us here 5 years later.
And Carquinez Quad Squad is happy to be hosting another doubleheader August 9th right here at the Solano County Fairgrounds. Come see CQS face off against Five Town Roller Derby, and then stick around for our inaugural Get Off My Lawn Fun Mixer for skaters aged 40 and up. Follow CQS on social media to stay in the loop for ticket sales and sign-ups. And there's the whistle for jam number 1 at the jam line for Outlaws is number 19, MC Jammer. And for Carquinez Quad Squad, it's Brutal Noodle. Brutal Noodle is going to get that lead jam status assessed to them. But MC Jammer is not far behind. Both skaters now coming up to the back of the pack. MC Jammer looking like they can find an opening there. Almost gets through. There's the fall, and they're back up. 4 points for both teams there. But it looks like we're in a power jam. Brutal Noodle getting sent to the penalty box. Didn't quite catch the penalty there, but I expect we'll see it in just a moment. MC Jammer now back through the track as well. Another 4 points on the scoreboard for the Outlaws. MC Jammer coming back around to the back of the pack, looking for an opening on the inside, and runs into some resistance. But not for long. They're through. Tried to call off the jam there, but they are not lead jammer. There's a track cut there for number 17 of Carquinez Quad Squad.
MC Jammer sneaking by on the inside line. Meanwhile, Noodle is back on the track and fighting her way through the pack. Getting past the Outlaws blockers. This is a 2-minute jam with 22 seconds remaining. Noodle coming around for a second pass. And getting hit just a little bit out and getting recycled to the back of the pack. That's unfortunate. But they get another chance to get out past the Outlaws blockers. And MC Jammer stuck in the back. And there's the end of the 2-minute jam. That ended up being 8 points for CQS and 20 points for Outlaws, bringing the score to 91 CQS, 107 Outlaws.
That's right, Outlaws hitting the century mark there. And they're taking the lead. We're now at a 16-point jam in Outlaws' favor, going into jam number 2. And there's the whistle at the jam line for CQS is number 86, Gore, and for the Outlaws, number 831, Wily Coyote.
Both jammers stuck in the wall, fighting their way through past these strong blockers.
Gore has position ahead of Wily Coyote, but yeah, there's some strong tripods there as both jammers looking for an opening. Wily Coyote getting pushed off of the outside track.
And a little run back from Mother Mayhem to force them to go further back on the track. And that's a multiplayer call for 626.
That's Gritty in pink for the Outlaws.
Yeah, you can hold onto your friend's arms, but you cannot impede the jammer with your arms. That's if they have to break their arms to get through, that's not allowed.
Absolutely. There's our lead jammer status assessed 50 seconds into this jam. It's going to be Gore who gets that lead jam status, and they're through. Getting a little slide look from their ref there as they're coming back around. Look at that opening on the outside track. Gore almost making it through before the Outlaw blockers can stop them.
And Gore makes it through the pack again. Wily Coyote still on initial pass, trying to fight their way through the CQS blockers.
Looks like number 444, Tramagachi from the Outlaws getting sent to the penalty box. That was an illegal position call there. And Gore's through once again. Another 4 on the scoreboard for CQS.
And we have a star pass for the Outlaws.
That's right. Now we have Gritty in Pink, number 626 from the Outlaws, jamming for the Outlaws.
And Gore calls it off. That was a great jam. That was 8 points, 9 points for CQS, 0 Outlaws, bringing Carquinez up to 100 points.
Nice jam there for CQS as they're now at the century mark.
Up next, we have 208 Whoa Nelly for Outlaws and 802 Loose Cannon for CQS. Strong hits from Loose Cannon, fighting her way through that Outlaws wall. And Loose is lead jam. Got a couple of pack penalties on both teams' blockers. Failure to reform.
That's right. That was number 420, Shred Zeppelin, and number 98, Michelada. Shred Zeppelin on Outlaws, Michelada on CQS.
So both teams will start this next jam with only 3 blockers on the track. Coming up next in Jam 4, we have 404 Chaos for CQS and 69 Odessa for Outlaws.
And there's the start whistle. Odessa pushing hard against some blockers and a little bit of footwork, and they're through for lead jam status. They're going to start working on picking up some points. Chaos still in the pack looking for an opening. Here comes Odessa on the outside. I see a direction call for number 7-6 Tinker Brawl of the Outlaws. They're going to take 30 seconds rather in the penalty box, and Odessa is through. That's another penalty for number 8 Dazzlin of CQS. I didn't catch that one. It looks like it may have been a multiplayer. And yes, indeed, I'm seeing that it was. Odessa now back around looking to score another 4 points for Outlaws. Can they do it? We'll see. They're pinballing kind of back and forth on that outside to the inside track and possibly able to find an opening there.
And Chaos made it out of that pack, but the jam was called before they could score any points. We're currently at 104 CQS to 113 Outlaws.
The 5-second call at the jam line for Outlaws, number 6-9 Odessa. And I believe they're actually in the penalty box. Yes, indeed, they are for that track cut at the end of that last jam, which means we're in a power jam for number 709 Brutal Noodle, and they are assist that lead jam status.
We've got a multiplayer.
I believe that was a legal position for number 212 of CQS and number 420 of Outlaws. Rock Carnage and Shred Zeppelin. Yes, indeed, a legal position there. So both teams are going to be down a blocker. Odessa now coming back around to the back of the pack to rejoin their teammates as Brutal Noodle is looking for an opening. Odessa makes it through and is going to start earning some points for the Outlaws.
Noodle is still stuck in this pack, seeing some strong blocking from the Outlaws, and they call it off before Odessa can score any points.
Looks like Noodle's able to pick up the full 4 there after that call off, which is badly needed as Outlaws are leading 113 to CQS's 108. 21 and a half minutes left here in this first half going into jam number 6.
And there's the whistle. In this next jam, we have 8-6 Gore for Carquinez and 333 Shazam for Outlaws. Both jammers stuck in the tripods, trying to fight their way through the opposing team's blockers. And it looks like Shazam makes it out to get assessed lead jammer. Gore's not far behind, also making out of the pack, as Shazam comes around for a scoring pass. Hits that strong blocker wall, gets stuck, and calls it off just as Gore re-enters the pack. But Gore still scored 1 point, so that jam was 1 point for Carquinez and 2 points for Outlaws. This is an exciting second half.
Yes, indeed it is. A 6-point bout between these two teams. They are both very well matched as we're going into jam number 7 at the jam line for CQS, number 802 Loose Cannon, and for the Outlaws, number 19 MC Jammer. Cannon at the front of the pack, a little stumble, but they are through and they will get assessed lead jammer. MC Jammer not far behind, and MC Jammer in fact taking position.
Whoa!
Jammer's trading hits there, and there's the call off from Loose. Little hip check, and then I'm going to call the jam. The 5-second call, the jam line for CQS, number 4, Lady Snow Fox. And for the Outlaws, number 208, Whoa Nelly. And here comes Lady Snow Fox as the lead jammer. Whoa Nelly not far behind. Both jammers going to be scoring some points soon, or at least trying. Lady Snow Fox at the back of the pack there. I hear a whistle and a direction call.
I saw some nice offense from CQS there, trying to get the other team's pack out of the way for the jammer to come through.
Absolutely, and that direction call was on number 8 Dazzlin of CQS, so CQS is going to be starting this next jam down a blocker. Looks like our Zebras are discussing points there, and I see one finger in the air for, I believe that is Outlaws. Outlaws still lead, 116 to CQS's 110. Brutal Noodle and Odessa at the jam line. It's going to be Odessa, actually, who gets that lead jammer status assessed.
But Noodle is out front, so Odessa calls it off.
A little bit of fun short game there for you. 0-point jam for either team going into jam number 10.
That's right, Outlaws don't want to give up any of their small 6-point lead. Up next, we have 8-6 Gore for CQS. And number 333, Shazam. We've seen this matchup a couple times this bout.
Absolutely. Take a look at, we'll see what Gore does, but we've been seeing a lot of fancy footwork on that outside track from Gore. I suspect we'll see maybe a little bit of the same today, but no, here comes Shazam on the outside track. Lead jam for the Outlaws.
A nice hit from 7-6, knocking Gore out of the track, but they're prevented from running back by a Silver Storm. That means that Gore doesn't have to go quite so far back.
The star is off of Gore's head as Shazam comes back around to the back of the pack. Forearm
Nice
call on 626 Gritty and Pink from the Outlaws.
Lining up for Jam 11. It looks like the Outlaws are starting with 2 blockers in the box, so only 2 on the track. Let's see what they can do to stop Loose Cannon from getting through. For the Outlaws, we have MC Jammer lining up together on the line.
That's right. Once again, we have 626 Gritty and Pink in the box for a forearm, and 444 Tramagachi in the box for a direction call.
Nice, and Loose is out as lead jammer, immediately pushing those 2 outlaw blockers out of play. And that's a directional penalty on number 3, Delta Brews. Luce making it around for another lap, scoring 4 points. Just as MC Jammer makes it out of the pack for the first time. And makes it through again and calls it off. That is an 8-point jam for Loose Cannon. Bringing the score even closer up to Carquinez, 118 to Outlaws, 120.
That's right, 2-point game here in the second half here in Vallejo, California. 15 minutes remaining in this second half, so still anyone's game.
Looks like going into this next jam, both teams have a blocker in the box, both serving a directional penalty. We have 208 Whoa Nelly jamming for the Outlaws and 404 Chaos jamming for Carquinez. And Whoa Nelly is assessed lead jam as Chaos is still getting through the pack in the back.
Looks like a star is off of Chaos's head. I'm hearing a whistle and seeing a back block call. That's on number 208.
Looks like this will be a power jam for CQS.
That's right. Whoa, Nelly getting called on that back block there. And the star pass now jamming for CQS, number 5150, Poison Envy.
Poison Envy calling for some offense for her wall. And gets through without even touching any of the Outlaws blockers. Excellent.
CQS now leading 122 to Outlaws 120.
CQS lining up for another good offense sweep to allow their jammer to get through the line.
There's a no pack call, and Poison Envy is through. Another 4 points on the scoreboard for
Strong
CQS.
Jammer. Going to try and make a third pass before the other jammer's penalty is up. Oh, no, they're actually back on the track already. That's Whoa Nelly for Outlaws jamming, but stuck in CQS wall. Can we see CQS recycle back up to the front to catch that jammer again? Nope, Whoa Nelly is out of the pack. And it looks like Poison Envy is getting hit out of bounds by the Outlaws. Let's see if we can get some offense going from her team.
Just a few seconds left here in this jam. Whoa Nelly coming back around to the back of the pack. The pack is here towards the front, so we'll see what happens at the back there. And there's the end of the jam.
Excellent. Strong 2.2-minute jam. Poison Envy scored 12 points, and that brings Carquinez back up to the lead with 130 versus Outlaws 126. Lots of lead changes this game. This is exciting. Oh, yeah.
There's the 5-second call going into jam number 13 of half number 2 at the jam line for CQS. Is number 709, Brutal Noodle. And from the Outlaws, number 69, Odessa. Noodle has it once again. Lead jam status assessed to CQS. Odessa out as well. Both skaters coming back around to the back of the pack. Noodle running into a little bit of resistance, looking for an opening. Can they find it? It looks like they might just before they call off the jam. I see 0 points on our inside track ref's hands for Outlaws. And it looks like 2 points for CQS. That's going to widen that lead to a 6-point difference between CQS and Outlaws. CQS leading 132 to Outlaws 126.
Lined up next, we have Gore for CQS and Shazam for Outlaws. Shazam fights their way through the pack, getting lead jammer. Gore is trying to do some footwork on the lines to get through. And he's stuck behind the Outlaws wall. As Shazam comes around a second time and makes it through. Getting chased down by Mother Mayhem, but not quite quick enough. That's a penalty on...
That's Poison Envy, 5150 for a multiplayer.
And it looks like Outlaws are the penalty directional on 444 Tramagachi.
That's right. Gore's coming back around as Shazam is just making it through. They may be able to close the gap here, and yes, indeed they do. Outlaws now taking the lead, 134 to Carquinez's 132. I'm checking to see if we're going to get that score updated on CQS, but I think that is all that they wrote for that jam. Yes, indeed, Outlaws leading with a 2-point lead. 10.5 minutes here in the second half.
Carquinez starting off this next jam with 2 blockers out, 2 in the box. Wow, both jammers on the ground. Good blocking. Just running into a brick wall there. And Loose Cannon makes it through with some fancy footwork on the line. And we have MC Jammer doing a little side surf to get around that corner. Cannon coming around for a pass. Just a quick hit and gets past. Both teams only 2 blockers on the track. That makes it tough to contain these jammers who are just racking up the points.
That's right. Just a quick penalty update here. That's 5150 Poison Envy serving for a legal position. Number 8, Dazzlin', I believe that was a back block. From the Outlaws, number 3, Delta Bruise for a legal position. And I believe we had another legal position, but I didn't quite catch the skater there for the Outlaws.
Loose Cannon is trying to get some extra points here to bring the score back to Outlaws in the lead. And makes it through again. Calls it off before MC Jammer gets any points. And now we have Carquinez back in the lead with 2 points ahead. We have a team timeout for Carquinez. Let everybody catch their breath after that exciting jam.
That's right. Just before the end of that jam there, looks like number 212, Raw Carnage from CQS, sent to the box for a track cut. A lot of penalties so far in this bout. Let's see. No one quite close to a foul out yet, though, but I'm seeing 4 penalties for our number 5150, Poison Envy, and then we have a couple of 4 penalty counts for skaters on Outlaws as well. Don't suspect we'll see any foul outs this bout, but still a lot of penalty-heavy jams today.
And there's the rolling whistle to end the timeout. Carquinez lining up on the jam line. Looks like we will have 208 Whoa Nelly for Outlaws and number 4 Lady Snowfox jamming for Carquinez. Like Whoa Nelly was almost out, got taken out by number 98 Michelada, but that was not enough to stop them. They're still lead jammer and heading around for a second pass. Lady Snowfox stuck in the wall and stripped the star off, looking to pass the star to their pivot. Carquinez doing a good job holding this jammer back with their blockers and forcing that jammer to go out of bounds. Recycled to the back of the pack. All right, looks like there was a completed star pass. Great work. And the jam is called off. These pivots never get a chance to jam.
Right as Michelada gets that star on their head. It's the end of that jam. But we're coming into jam number 17. Just under 8 minutes left on the game timer here. It's a 1-point game as Carquinez Quad Squad leads 144 to Outlaws 143. At the jam line for CQS, number 709, Brutal Noodle. And for Outlaws, number 69, Odessa. Brutal Noodle looking for an opening on the outside track. But here comes Odessa on the inside.
Ooh, both jammers are out. It's a race.
It looks like that's Odessa gets the lead jam status, and they will call it off. There's the call off from Odessa, and then the look to Brutal Noodle saying, what can you do? I'm going to stop you right there. 0-point jam. CQS still leading just by that 1 point. Going into jam number 18. Up next for Outlaws, number 333, Shazam, up against CQS's number 802, Loose Cannon, and there is the whistle. Shazam pushing against Skater, trying to find an opening. Going towards the inside, but juking to the out. Loose Cannon towards the back of the pack, looking for an opening. Looks like it's going to be Shazam, and yes, indeed, Shazam is through. Lead jam for Outlaws.
Loose Cannon was almost out of the pack there, but got hit out just at the last second. Had to recycle to the back of the pack. Still fighting their way through this pack on their initial trip. Shazam is now on a scoring pass, getting stuck behind Carquinez blockers as they juke back and forth, trying to find a space through, and they found it. Passing all blockers for 4 points and calling it off.
And it looks like a star pass there for CQS as Loose Cannon passes that star over to Poison Envy. And just in time, too, because Loose Cannon there was called for a track cut, which means we will not be in a power jam here coming into jam number 19.
Yes, so Loose Cannon is in the box still as jammer, serving that penalty as a jammer, leading to a power jam for Outlaws in this jam number.
Yes, indeed. We saw the officials discussing that momentarily at the end of the last jam. So we are actually indeed in a power jam for the Outlaws.
And MC Jammer making their way through the pack. And coming around for a scoring pass, getting stuck in the CQS wall.
There's the no pack call, which means MC Jammer's got to be left through, and indeed they are. That's 4 points on the scoreboard for the Outlaws as they are now in the lead.
And Cannon makes it through on her initial pass. If she gets a chance, she can come around and score some points.
And there's the call off from MC Jammer. 4-point jam for the Outlaws, which puts them in the lead, 151 to Carquinez's 144. 4.5 minutes left here in the second half. Coming up next, Carquinez Quad Squad, number 404, Chaos, up against Outlaws 208, Whoa Nelly.
Both tripods trying to catch the jammer right off the line. Looks like Bo Nelly is forcing her way through the front of the pack to get lead jammer, and Mother Mayhem gets a penalty.
I believe that is a legal position for Mother Mayhem. We'll see here momentarily. Whoa Nelly is through. That's 4 points on the scoreboard, and then the call off from Whoa Nelly.
Outlaws playing it smart with these 0-4 jams. Just play the short game.
Yes, indeed, they are able to hold CQS scoreless there. 3.5 minutes remaining. That's exactly what you want to do, is those quick, give me my points, and then get me back on the bench.
But hey, Carquinez is only 11 points behind. We've seen 12-point jams, so they could come back with one jam here.
Absolutely. Still anyone's game. Going into jam number 21 at the jam line, 709 Brutal Noodle for CQS up against number 69 Odessa. And Odessa gets lead jam status assessed almost immediately. Able to find an opening there through the pack. And we are in a power jam. That is a track cut for Brutal Noodle. Power jam for Outlaws. They're going to get, Odessa's going to get pushed into the infield and get cycled back, and they're going to go ahead and try again on that inside track, and they make it through. Outlaws widening that lead. as they come back around to the back of the pack.
Outlaws lining up for some offense as their jammer comes around again.
And Odessa is through, another 4 on the scoreboard.
We have a failure to reform penalty on 420 Shred Zeppelin for Outlaws. When they call that no pack, you must hustle to get that pack reformed.
Absolutely. Another no pack call as Brutal Noodle comes back around to the back of the pack. Fortunately, it looks like the pack was able to reform without penalties this time. Both jammers now in the fray.
Brutal Noodle makes it out of the pack. Followed closely by Odessa, who calls off the jam after a 16-point jam. Current score is Carquinez 144, Outlaws 171.
That's right, 27-point game for the Outlaws with just a minute 20 remaining. Doesn't look too good for CQS, but it's still anyone's game.
Lined up on the jam line for CQS, we have 8-6 Gore, and for the Outlaws, number 333 Shazam. And there's the whistle. Both jammers trying to fight their way past the opposing blockers, and some fancy footwork from Gore on the line. Gore gets out in his lead jam. Looks like Shazam is also out of the pack. Both teams' blockers jostling for position as they get ready for the jammers to come in. We're getting some quick offense from CQS to get Gore out for a scoring pass. And calls it off. Let's see, that's 4 points. And looks like Outlaws got 2 points on that jam. Excellent work. It's always nice when your team gets lead jam.
Absolutely, and there's a timeout there, and wisely called with just 21 seconds remaining in this bout. Outlaws still leading 173 to CQS's 148. 25-point game. Like I said earlier, doesn't look too good for CQS, but yeah, I've seen bigger comebacks than this. And let me ask you, are you derby curious? Do you want to dust your skates off and refresh your skills? CQS is hosting its annual summer boot camp starting August 17th. Swing by the CQS merch table or email join@carquinezquadsquad.org to get more info. That's join@carquinezquadsquad.org.
This next jam will be the last jam of this game with only 22 seconds remaining on the period clock. The rolling whistle tells us the timeout is over. And lined up on the line, we have Loose Cannon for CQS and MC Jammer for the Outlaws. Both very strong jammers. Let's see what they can do this time.
Absolutely. Very great lineup for what could be the last jam of the bout. Loose Cannon up ahead, working on those blockers. Almost makes it through, but here's the big cycle back as Loose gets sent back to the back of the pack. I hear a whistle there, and that is a cut for number 7-2, Hot Rod Jane.
And Cannon is out as lead jammer, sneaking past on the inside line with some fancy footwork. MC Jammer also out of the pack. Not lead.
The period timer has elapsed here, so this is CQS's last chance to get those points. So it is good that CQS is in control of the jam timer.
Cannon making it out of the pack after a few big hits from Outlaws. MC Jammer getting knocked to the floor, but getting back up again as Loose comes around for the third pass and makes it through. Excellent. That's already 8 points on the board for CQS this jam.
Minute remaining here in this jam.
MC Jammer taking off the star for a star pass. Interesting. And the pivot gets stuck in the wall, in the CQS wall, forced to recycle to the back of the pack as Cannon is trying to make it through Outlaws blockers.
Lots of movement here on turn number 2 as
Cannon makes it out.
Absolutely, that's another 4 points on the scoreboard for CQS.
And CQS blockers are doing a great job holding that jammer back.
It's a 12-point jam so far for CQS, but we'll see what happens. Outlaws are still leading by 17 points, and that's a whole lot of points to make up in just about 10 seconds.
Hey, yeah, and also, you only score points when the star's on your head. I don't know how many points were scored in that last pass with no star in the hand, not on the head. Cannon
Absolutely.
And that's the end of that jam. Looks like that was a 16-point jam for Loose Cannon. Unofficial score is 164 Carquinez, 181 Outlaws. That was a really good last jam for Carquinez.
Absolutely. Unofficial score, usually wiggles by, I don't know, maybe 4 points, 8 points at most, so it doesn't look too good for CQS at this point. I think the Outlaws may have it.
And that rolling whistle means the score is final.
Slight score adjustment for the Outlaws. They actually gained an additional point. Number 2, Hulk Smash. Number 2-2, Passion Swivel Hips. Number 2-1, Jabberwocky. Number 3-7, Anastasia. Number 409, Olivia Denson. Number 454, Pound Cake. Number 47, Scouts for Blood. Number 69, Odessa. Number 7, Tank. Number 72, Hot Rod Jane. Number 9, Delta Bruise. And number 921, Oh Honey No, with bench staff, Allison Chains, Minnie Malice, and Coach Hyde.
And let's meet our second team, Peninsula Roller Derby. Starting off, we have number 555, Kilmore Girls. Number 62, Silly Goose. Number 89, Hot Toady. Number 4, Sharakuda. Number 020, Critical Brit. Number 011, Sky Scrapper. Number 17, Atomic Bombshell. Number 80, Eddie Current. Number 6, Idiculous Fun. Number 488, Jamma Ray. Number 90, Jane Scare. Number 247, Viper Active. Number 4292, Domino Mo. Number 200, Chem Fatale. Number 0151, M Dash. With alts 42, Mall Rat, and 187, Luis Glock. The Peninsula Roller Derby is coached by Oxytoxin, She-Ra Badass, and Eddie Current. We're going to get this jam started in just about 1 minute.
That's right, and remember, Carquinez Quad Squad was formed in 2019 and is a 501c3 nonprofit. Please support today's hosting league by purchasing some drinks and snacks and picking up some rad CQS merch. Proceeds go to keeping CQS skating. And let me ask you, do you want to hear your business shout out at a future game? Consider supporting CQS by becoming a sponsor. Email sponsorship@carquinezquadsquad.org to learn about sponsorship opportunities. Once again, that is sponsorship@carquinezquadsquad.org. At the jam line for Peninsula Roller Derby is number 187, Luis Glock. And it looks like Luis Glock is going to get that lead jam status. Up against Luis Glock is number 37, Anastasia. And a quick little call off to get jam 1 finished. And we're underway with bout number 2.
Starting with a quick official timeout. This is the California Derby Galaxy Quasars League. This is the level for intermediate and advanced skaters, so we'll expect to see a little bit faster, hard-hitting derby at this game.
That's right, and looking at the jam line coming out here for this next jam, for the Outlaws, number 409, this is Olivia Denson.
And for Peninsula Roller Derby, we have number 62, Silly Goose. We want to say thank you to our venue, the Solano County Fairgrounds. Don't forget to come back for the Solano County Fair, June 12th to 15th.
We also have an after party today. Let's head over to the historic Mare Island to enjoy beverages and food at Mare Island Brewing Coal Sheds. That's 850 Nimitz Avenue here in Vallejo. This is the brewery on Mare Island itself. If you don't feel like you've driven through a weird industrial and perhaps zombie-ridden landscape after crossing a bridge, you are not at the right Mare Island Brewing location. Also, don't miss your exit if arriving via 37. Your next option to turn around is in Novato. So you don't want to miss that. After party from 6 to 8 or until we close out. This location has a large indoor and outdoor seating area on the water with plenty of space heaters. So it's a nice day today. I'm not sure if we'll need it here in Vallejo, California.
That rolling whistle ends the timeout. Starting out with Jam 2, we have Silly Goose up against, Olivia Denson for Outlaws. And Silly Goose quickly gets the lead jam, jumping past Outlaws on the outside line. Olivia Denson getting stuck behind the Quasars blockers for Peninsula. And gets them pushed and spread out until they only have a single person left. Meanwhile, Silly Goose passes by without touching anybody on the outside line. Outlaws jammer still stuck in the pass as Silly Goose comes around for a third pass. Getting a little help from her offense to sneak by without touching anyone for an 8-point jam, 8-0 for Peninsula Roller Derby.
Up at the jam line for Peninsula, looks like that is Domino Mo. And I can't quite see that Outlaws jammer, but the jam is underway. Oh, that is Tank from the Outlaws. A lot of action here on this first turn. It looks like Tank is up ahead, and yes, indeed, that is lead jam for Outlaw Roller Derby. Taking a look at Domino, who's getting cycled back towards the back of the pack, now looking for an opening. Here comes Tank, though, looking to score some points on that inside track. They will get cycled back. A lot of action here on turn number 2. The no pack call, and then the pack is here call. And Tank is through once again. That's 4 points on the scoreboard for the Outlaws. Little tumble there from Domino Mo. And we are now in a power jam for the Outlaws as Domino Mo getting sent to the penalty box for a track cut. Lots of opportunities here for Tank to earn some points. And speaking of, that's 4 more points on the scoreboard for Tank. Tank now coming back around to turn number 3, just out of that straightaway there. Looking for an opening on the outside track and can't quite find it. All that momentum now gone, but Tank is looking like a tank and just powering through skaters before calling off the jam.
Looks like Domino Mo is still in the box, so the Outlaws will start the next jam with a power jam. We'll see the Peninsula Roller Derby blockers try to line up in an advantageous shape to catch this jammer, while the Outlaws blockers try to do a little offense to get their jammer out right off the line. Looks like the jammer for Outlaws, Danger Knoxville, is out with lead, just as Domino Mo is released from the penalty box and starts her scoring pass, or starts her initial pass. Domino is out of the pack, and Danger Knoxville still stuck in the pack. Some nice defense from Mall Rat. And calls off the jam.
That's Anastasia on the jam line for the Outlaws up against Domino Mo, who is sitting in the penalty box there. So we're in a power start here for the Outlaws, and Anastasia gets it. Lead jam for the Outlaws.
Shirakuda sent to the box for a penalty.
I believe that was a legal position.
Looks like a failure to reform.
That's right. And an illegal contact call there for 0-1-1 scraps. Lots of skaters getting sent to the penalty box. Here comes Anastasia. Beautiful apex jump there. 4 more points on the board for the Outlaws. Outlaws leading there 22-8. With 1:10 left here in this jam. Here comes Anastasia again on the outside. Really well done. A really nice jam so far for Anastasia. Anna now coming back around to the back of the pack.
We have a star pass. It looks like the jammer for Peninsula Roller Derby is now Atomic Bombshell. Struggling to get past the pack in the back, getting recycled around. With a little help from her offense, making some progress. But these Outlaws blockers are strong. Anastasia coming around for another pass. Ref's getting in on the action as well. And Atomic is finding a way through the pack. Oh, getting knocked out on the inside line.
And it's another 4 for Anastasia. 24-point jam so far for the Outlaws, with just over 10 seconds remaining here in this jam.
Peninsula blockers making a tripod to help contain that jammer just as the jam ends. Current score is Peninsula Roller Derby 8, Outlaws Roller Derby 39.
That's right, and a 25-point jam there for Outlaws, and they were able to hold Peninsula scoreless there. Really well done move from Anastasia. I'm excited to see what we have remaining from these skaters in this bout.
We're in a team timeout for Peninsula Roller Derby, but we have an opportunity for audience participation during halftime of this game. Join us on the track during halftime for the CQS Classic Racing of the Tomatoes. Come be part of the action. Also, special thanks to Vallejo Cellars for creating CQS Bout Day Chardonnay. This is available by the glass at the bar or by the bottle to take home at Vallejo Cellars booth. A portion of the proceeds go to the CQS. Cheers. All right, lining up for Jam 6, we have Olivia Denson for Outlaws Roller Derby and number 488, Jamma Ray for Peninsula Roller Derby. Ooh, Jamma Ray almost making it past on the inside line, but just a little spin move and some footwork keeps her from getting past. Both jammers getting recycled to the back. Strong blocking from both teams. Lots of reforming around the front. And Jamma Ray's out front as lead jammer, followed closely by Olivia Denson. Let's see how these walls set up for the incoming jammers, both trying to do a little offense and jostle around to create some space. Jamma Ray gets through and calls it off. Let's see how many points they put on the board. 1 point. Hey, better than 0. Oh no, sorry, there was 1 point for Outlaws and 3 points for Peninsula for that jam.
That's right. You can see that great strategy there from Jamma Ray, doing the quick call off, and then I'm going to try to get ahead of the skater in front of me, get that extra point, and it looks like it paid off. At the jam line for the Peninsula Roller Derby, number 555 Kilmore Girls, and for the Outlaws, number 7 Tank.
Tank making it through on the inside line. Meanwhile, KG gets recycled to the back of the pack.
The Kilmore Girls has that star off their head. Maybe they are thinking of passing it, or maybe they're just going to hold on to it. Meanwhile, Tank toppling over another skater there, and then the penalty call for number 2 of the Outlaws. That looks like it was a back block there. Meanwhile, Kilmore Girls thought better of that star pass and decided to put that star back on their head as they make it through the pack. But not long after, Tank calls off the jam. Early lead here for the Outlaws here in going into jam number 8 of the first half. Outlaws leading 44 to Peninsula's 11.
At the jam line for Peninsula, we have Luis Glock. Strong pushes through the Outlaws blockers, and she finds a path through and makes it all the way out. Outlaws jammer, Danger Knoxville, still stuck in the pack, and escaping out just as Luis comes around again. Peninsula Roller Derby blockers setting up some offense to help her get out and calls it off. I think that was a 4-0 jam. 3-0.
Not quite 4-0, but let me tell you, I am struck by how aggressive Luis Glock is as a jammer. It's very exciting to watch. Suspect we're going to see lots of strong hits from these jammers today. A quick official timeout here as we correct the score. Once again, if you're interested in joining CQS, you can email us at join@carquinezquadsquad.org or pick up information from the merch booth. Once again, that is join@carquinezquadsquad.org. At the jam line for the Outlaws is number 010 Danger, that's number 37 Anastasia. And up against Anastasia is number 62, Silly Goose. Looks like the Goose is loose out in front. Is able to get that lead jam status, but Anastasia is able to get out as well. There's the call from Silly Goose. Possibly a few points there for Peninsula. We'll have to wait and see. I certainly can see 0 fingers there on the ref for the Outlaws, and just 1 point there for the Goose. Outlaws still lead 44-16.
On the jam line this time, we have number 4292 Domino Mo for Peninsula Roller Derby and number 409 Olivia Denson for Outlaws. Domino Mo fighting her way to get through on the inside line is called lead jam. Olivia Denson is also out. Let's see how these packs set up as the jammers come around.
The forearm call there for number 22, the Passion Swivel Hips of the Outlaws. That's the Outlaw pivot.
Smart move from Domino Mo, calling it off before the Outlaws couldn't score any points. That's 2-point jam for Peninsula Roller Derby. On the jam line for Jam 11, we have Tank for Outlaws and Jamma Ray for Peninsula. I like to see how the blockers set up off the line. You can usually see them set up in a defensive tripod and then one offensive person trying to create some chaos in the middle to let their jammer get through.
That's right, but it doesn't look like it was enough chaos for Peninsula Roller Derby as Tank from the Outlaws is able to get through and start working on earning those points. They're going to take a little bit of a tumble there on the outside and get right back up before getting knocked back and cycled back just a little bit. Not once, but twice as they eventually make it through, adding 4 points to the scoreboard for the Outlaws. Let's see, Jamma Ray working on some blockers there on turn number 2.
Nice hit from Scrapper to keep that jammer in check, but not quite enough to stop her.
That is the call there, but we did see a star pass there as the star moved from Jammer Ray to number 17, Atomic Bombshell of the Peninsula Roller Derby. Bombshell had that star for just a few seconds before that jam was called.
We have Danger Knoxville for Outlaws, declared lead jam for this. Kilmore Girls fighting through the Outlaws pack in the back. And making it through on the outside line with some fancy footwork. Peninsula blockers holding Danger Knoxville in the back, while the Outlaws blockers try to create some space with offense. And a little spin move on the line gets Danger out, followed closely by Kilmore Girls. Looks like both teams scored 4 points that jam, keeping the score as it was. Peninsula Roller Derby 22, Outlaws 56. Luis Glock quickly getting called as lead jammer up against Outlaws Roller Derby jammer Anastasia. Coming quickly into the pack and calling it off. That was a 0-0 jam. But sometimes better not to let your opponent score any points either. On the jam line, we have Silly Goose for Peninsula Roller Derby up against Olivia Denson, jamming for Outlaws. Silly Goose getting some offense from number 4, Sharakuda, but getting knocked out on the line by Delta Bruise. Delta Bruise also went out, so Silly Goose can continue on and is lead jammer. Silly Goose looking for some points, getting nice hit out of bounds by Miss Morg for the Outlaws. And that's another 0-0 jam. Both teams very strong. Lining up for jam 15, we have Tank for the Outlaws and Domino Mo for Peninsula Roller Derby. Strong hit from Scrapper for Peninsula there, keeping Tank back, but not quite enough as Tank gets declared lead jammer. Domino Mo push against a full pack of 3 Outlaws. Getting recycled to the back of the pack. Peninsula doing a great job with just 2 blockers holding Tank. There's a star pass for Peninsula. Atomic Bombshell is jammer for just a second before Tank calls it off. At the line for Peninsula, we have Jamma Ray up against Danger Knoxville for Outlaws. Jamma Ray is lead jammer, getting out of the pack. Some late hits from Mallrat before rejoining the pack to help do some offense for the Jammer, and Jammer Ray calls it off before Danger scores any points. That last jam was a 2-point jam for Peninsula Roller Derby, slowly grabbing each of these points that they can get. Current score is Peninsula Roller Derby 24, Outlaws Roller Derby 60. At the line, we have Kilmore Girls for Peninsula Roller Derby and number 37, Anastasia. Anastasia getting out is taking a quick spill, but getting back up again as lead jammer. Kilmore Girls is also out. Whoa, little apex jump and calls it off. Nice. Very good offense from Outlaws, clearing the track so that Anastasia has a clear path to get out. And they're off. That's Olivia Denson from Outlaws and Louise Glock for Peninsula Roller Derby. Outlaws blockers do some strong recycles to get up in front of Louise, but they can't stop her. She's getting through. And Olivia Denson also out, not far behind. Peninsula Roller Derby's been doing good, getting a lot of lead jams. That gives them the power over win to end the jam. Unfortunately, it looks like Louise Glock is going to the box for a back block. So this next jam, the jam's not over actually. Olivia Denson coming up to the Peninsula Roller Derby wall. This will be a 2-minute jam with 1 minute and about 5 seconds remaining in this jam. It's a long one. Outlaws blockers trying to keep pack in the back by keeping one of the Peninsula blockers back there. If they can keep the largest group of blockers from both teams, that means that they can control where the blockers go and give their jammer a little bit of an advantage. But that Peninsula tripod is still strong, keeping Olivia Denson in the back without getting any points through. We're cycling up to the front, getting a little bit spread out as they have to send a bridge to go back, and Olivia's through for another 4 points. Peninsula Jammer back on the track and making it through with a quick star pass to Critical Brit. There's 22 seconds remaining in this jam. We have Critical Brit coming in. Both jammers struggling to get through this pack. We have Brit, and the jam ends just as Critical Brit comes up to the engagement zone. That jam ended up with 15 points for Outlaws and 6 for Peninsula. On the line, jamming for Outlaws, we have number 7, Tank, up against number 61, Silly Goose. And Tank makes it past the last Peninsula blocker to get lead jam. Quick star pass to Atomic Bombshell, who is out for Peninsula Roller Derby. Nice, up against Tank. We had Mallrat just doing a quick hit, but Tank got past them. Atomic Bombshell trying to get through on the inside line, but a bunch of Outlaws blockers get in the way. And one last little spin to get around the last one, and they're through. But Tank gets through again and calls it off.
There's a 5-second call at the jam line for the Outlaws, number 010, Danger Knoxville, and for Peninsula Roller Derby, number 4292, Domino Mo. Lots of struggle there, just shy of the pivot line. And there's a forearm call there for 020 of the Peninsula Roller Derby team. That's Critical Brit. And it looks like Danger Knoxville is going to get out and get that lead jam status assessed to them. They're going to spin there and take a hard hit, and there's the call off there. They're able to add 4 points to the scoreboard for the Outlaws.
Heading into Jam 21 in the first half, we have Jam Array on the line for Peninsula Roller Derby up against 37 Anastasia for the Outlaws. Anastasia getting stuck in the Peninsula Roller Derby tripod. Both jammers really fighting their way through, trying to find a path through these strong blockers. And looks like Jam Array getting through on the inside line as lead jammer.
Nice little apex at the jump there from Anastasia. Both jammers now out and hungry for points.
Jam Array gets hit out on the inside line but calls it off. Let's see how many points each player got. Looks like that's 2 points for the Outlaws and 3 points for Peninsula. That's all you need. Sometimes it just comes down to 1 point.
At the jam line for the Outlaws, number 409, Olivia Denson, and for PRD, looks like it's Luis Glock. Luis Glock looking for an opening out in front. Just getting past that pivot there, and there's that lead jam status assessed to Luis. Olivia Denson is now out as well. Second trip for both jammers. Here comes Luis Glock at the back of the pack, looking for an opening and finding it, attempting to make the call off, and there it is. Looks like the Outlaws were able to pick up 1 point there, and Luis Glock earning 2 points for Peninsula Roller Derby. Outlaws lead 94 to Peninsula's 93. Just under 5 minutes left in this first half.
At the jam line, we have Silly Goose for Peninsula up against number 7 Tank for Outlaws. Both walls doing a great job holding these blockers back, but Tank finds a way through and sneaks past through the middle as declared lead jammer. Silly Goose gets recycled to the back. Can they find a way through? Getting a little help from offense to make a path, and gets through on the outside line, coming up behind Tank, who just did the first scoring pass, and Tank calls it off.
Up next to the jam line for Peninsula Roller Derby, number 4292, Domino Mo. And from the Outlaws, number 010, Danger Knoxville. There's the 5-second call.
Both teams starting right on that jam line to catch the jammers right as they explode off of the line.
It's going to be Danger who gets that lead jam status. Domino Mo taking a little tumble there, but not far behind. They're back up and at it.
Oh, that's a cut for Domino Mo, heading to the penalty box.
That's right, which means we're in a power jam for the Outlaws. Danger Knoxville adding 4 points to the scoreboard for the Outlaws, now coming back around to the back of the track.
Let's see how the Outlaws try to do some offense to help their jammer get through. And Danger's through for another scoring pass. Peninsula blockers setting up with a tripod and a little bit of anti-offense to help protect those defense blockers. Keep them from getting swept by the offense. And Danger finds a way through and calls it off just as Domino is released from the box. So we will not start in a power jam. The box is empty. Starting off on the line, we have Jamma Ray for Peninsula Roller Derby and Anastasia for Outlaws. Trying to do some offense off the line. Gets Anastasia out right away. Jamma Ray carefully avoiding some down skaters. Finding a way through the pack. Trying to get around Outlaws blockers. As Anastasia makes another scoring pass through. Peninsula tripod up front, trying to contain that jammer, but they cannot. And Jamma Ray gets out with a no pass, no penalty. And is now on her scoring pass. Anastasia just getting 1 point on that last pass, and 0 for Peninsula Roller Derby. Oh, Peninsula Roller Derby is calling an official review. Did you know Carquinez Quad Squad is a 501c3 nonprofit? Please support today's hosting league by purchasing some drinks and snacks and picking up some awesome CQS merch. Proceeds go to keep our team skating. If you're interested in joining CQS, email join@carquinezquadsquad.org or pick up some information from the merch booth. Jamming for Peninsula Roller Derby, we have Kilmore Girls, number 555, up against number 409, Olivia Denson for Outlaws. Both jammers have a hard time getting past these strong blockers. Oh, it looks like Kilmore Girls was called on a penalty, making this a power jam for Outlaws. Now it looks like it was a track cut penalty on Kilmore Girls. Olivia Denson is the lead jammer, could call it off anytime she wants, but probably is going to try to keep racking up these points. Peninsula blockers trying to set up in an advantageous shape and avoid Outlaws offense. Olivia Denson making it through the pack another time, coming around for another scoring pass. And Kilmore Girls is back on the track, fighting against the Outlaws blockers. Nice blocking from Critical Brit, number 020, holding the Outlaws jammer, along with Ridiculous Fun, number 6, and forcing her to call it off. And that's our half. Our score at the halftime is Peninsula Roller Derby 39, Outlaws Roller Derby 130. Join us on the track during this halftime in just a few minutes for the CQS Classic Racing of the Tomatoes. We'll be back after halftime for some more roller derby.
Hello, roller derby fans. Who's having a great time today? I think more people are having a good time. Are you having a good time? I did not get my butt handed to me on the last game for you not to cheer. So, if anybody knows a little bit about the history of Carquinez Quad Squad, we have a tomato that we love a lot. Right after COVID, when we were getting back into playing derby, we practiced here at the fairgrounds at a sheep barn, and there was a large cutout of a tomato with the words written "fun" on it. And fun was really what we all needed, kind of coming out of the various shelter in places and all the shenanigans of 2020 and 2021. So we adopted this tomato.
If you enjoyed this event, join us again on August 9th for Carquinez Quad Squad hosting another doubleheader right here at Solano County Fairgrounds. Come see CQS face off against V-Town Roller Derby, and then stick around for our inaugural Get Off My Lawn fun mixer for skaters aged 40 and up. We'll make sure there's plenty of Advil available. Follow CQS on social media to stay in the loop for ticket sales and sign-ups.
That's right, and let's head over to the historic Mare Island Brewing to enjoy beverages at the Mare Island Brewing Coal Sheds at 850 Nimitz Avenue in Vallejo. This is the brewery on Mare Island itself. If you don't feel like you've driven through a weird industrial and perhaps zombie-ridden landscape after crossing a bridge, you're not at the right Mare Island Brewing location. This location is a large indoor and outdoor seating area on the water with plenty of space and space heaters. Starting period number 2 here on the jam line for Peninsula is number 187, Luis Glock, and for the Outlaws, it's 37, Anastasia. And Anna has it. That's lead jam for the Outlaws.
Anastasia coming around for a scoring pass, doing a little fancy footwork, toe-stop run on the outside line to get through.
That's right.
Luis Glock taking the star off, but getting hit out to the inside line, getting recycled back. Cannot do a star pass while you're out of bounds. Both the jammer and the pivot must be upright and in bounds and in play for a star pass. Anastasia calls it off. That was an 8-point jam for the Outlaws.
That's right. It looks like that star pass was successful. Passed over to Atomic Bombshell for just a few seconds before that jam was called off. That brings us into jam number 2 of the second half at the jam line for PRD, number 62, Silly Goose, and for the Outlaws, number 7, Tank. Tank, a really dynamic skater, lots of pushing through those defenses, so I'm excited to see what happens this jam, but it's going to be Goose who gets that lead jam status.
Goose coming around for a scoring pass, but hit out to the inside line and quickly recycled back as Tank makes it out of the initial pass. Goose calling it off after scoring 2 points. Excellent. I'm seeing some strong blockers on both teams. Lots of hits out to the inside line. Some dramatic hits to the outside. Coming up on the jam line for Jam 3, we have number 488, Jamma Ray for Peninsula Roller Derby, and 407, Olivia Denson for Outlaws. Outlaws setting up at the top of the engagement zone to give Jamma Ray a bit of speed run up. Olivia is out front and making it out of the pack for lead jam.
That's a multiplayer call on 241 of the Outlaws. That is Jabberwocky getting sent to the penalty box.
Nice job from Kem Fatale preventing a run back on Jamma Ray. Didn't quite happen that time, so Jamma Ray has to run all the way back to the back of the engagement zone. Jamma Ray makes it out of the pack with 4 points, but is not lead. And Olivia Denson calls it off. Oh, looks like that was a direction call on Kem Fatale, who will start the next jam in the penalty box. That leaves Peninsula Roller Derby with 3 skaters on the track, 3 blockers on the track, plus 1 jammer. Kilmore Girls up against a full pack of Outlaws. And for the Outlaws, the jammer is 010, Danger Knoxville.
There's a no pack call, and it looks like Danger's able to get through and get that lead jam status assessed to them. That leads Kilmore in the pack looking for an opening.
Sneaky star pass to Atomic Bombshell, who is now the jammer for Peninsula Roller Derby.
And a direction call for 921 on Honey No. That's the pivot for the Outlaws. That brings us to the end of the jam there. 4-point jam for the Outlaws, 0 for Peninsula Roller Derby.
Looks like Chem Fatale was released from the box, so the Peninsula is starting the jam at full strength. Outlaws are down 1 blocker.
There's the 5-second call at the jam line for PRD, number 187, Luis Glock, and for the Outlaws, number 37, Anastasia.
Number 7-2, Mallrat, doing some great offense for Louise Glock, helping her get out of the pack and get lead jammer.
Yeah, really excellent footwork we're seeing there from Luis. And there's a track cut there for Anastasia, which means we're in a power jam for Luis Glock. Not sure if they knew it there. They called off the jam. That means we're going to start with a power start here in this next jam.
And our power jammer for Peninsula Roller Derby will be Silly Goose. Also looks like they'll start off with a pack advantage as the Outlaws only have 3 blockers out on the track. Let's see what kind of interesting offense Peninsula does here to help get their jammer out. Outlaws skating away, trying to keep the pack moving, but Peninsula's holding the pack in the back with one of the blockers there.
Really great defense here we're seeing from the Outlaws.
Yeah.
But yes, the Silly Goose does get through and gets assessed that lead jam status.
Peninsula lining up for a sweep on the line to help get Silly Goose out. Anastasia released from the box, and with a little apex jump to get through the pack. Silly Goose on another scoring pass, gets past a couple blockers and calls it off.
2 more points added to the score there for Peninsula Roller Derby. And they can hold the Outlaws at 0 there for that last jam. Still a healthy lead, though, for the Outlaws. They're leading 150 to Peninsula Roller Derby's 58. 23.5 minutes left here in the second half as we go into jam number 7.
Looks like Peninsula Roller Derby has a blocker in the box. That's number 4, Sharakuda.
And at the jam line for Peninsula is number 488, Jam Array, and for the Outlaws, number 7, Tank.
Tank's such a hard hitter, getting through that Peninsula wall, getting a called lead jammer after a quick spill on the inside. Jammer Ray getting recycled to the back of the pack as Tank comes around for a scoring pass. Let's see if Jammer Ray can follow. Not quite.
Tank is through, however, untouched there on the inside track. An easy 4 on the scoreboard for the Outlaws as they come back around.
Jammer Ray's getting a little help from a star pass. That was so sneaky. I didn't even catch that. Atomic Bombshell, the jammer for Peninsula before Tank calls it off.
Seeing a lot of that today with Atomic Bombshell, holding that star for just a few fleeting moments before that jam gets called off. Good strategy there from PRD. They say, hey, I see we have a fresh skater there wearing the star. I'm going to cut that off and nip it at the bud.
That's right. If you can't get out as yourself, your best chance as a jammer is to pass the star to your pivot. Jamming now for Peninsula, we have Kilmore Girls, number 555, up against number 489, or 409, Olivia Denson for Outlaws.
Both jammers are now out. Kilmore Girls just narrowly, very narrowly avoiding that cut call there, and they make it through there.
Beautiful, sneaking through on the inside line for 4 points before Outlaws can score any that jam. Oh, actually, Outlaws scored 1 point. Just snuck in 1 point there. There's some really great defense from both teams, holding these strong jammers back.
That's right, and that brings us into jam number 9. There's the 5-second call, and at the jam line for PRD is number 187, Luis Glock, and for Outlaws, number 010, Danger Knoxville. And it's Luis Glock gets that lead jam status on the outside track.
Followed closely by Danger Knoxville.
Absolutely. Love to see the speed coming from Luis.
Really great offense.
Wow.
Just gets through with 4 and calls it off.
Wow, really nicely done. The full 4 right there, and then the quick call off.
Good short game. This is how you get these points in these tough jams.
Yeah, love to see that coming from Luis and Peninsula Roller Derby.
Looks like Peninsula Roller Derby Mall Rat got sent to the box.
You know, I didn't see that penalty. I was so distracted by that really expertly done call off there, that last jam from Luis. But enough about that. Let's take a look at this jam here. Jam number 10 at the jam line for PRD is Silly Goose, and from the Outlaws is Anastasia. It's going to be Silly Goose who gets that lead jam status assessed, but Anya is through the pack now as well. Coming back around that turn 3 and 4 to the back of the pack.
Oh, Silly Goose attempts an apex jump, but was hit out of the air by Outlaws.
Really quick recovery, though, there from the Goose, but here comes Anastasia, who is now through, and yes, indeed, gets the 4 points.
Goose trying to take advantage of her offense on the inside line. Falling down, but getting right back up again and getting past, and to get out of that engagement zone. Still lead jam. Oh, and Silly Goose calls it off.
Just a little late on that call off there. It looks like Anastasia was able to get through and get the full 4 points there. So that's a 8-point jam for the Outlaws for Peninsula Roller Derby. Outlaws still leading 167 to Peninsula Roller Derby 70, but slowly and surely Peninsula Roller Derby is closing that gap. Now a 97-point bout rather than 100 plus.
Yeah, I don't know what Peninsula Roller Derby coaches talked about at that halftime, but they're coming back strong after this halftime. Up next, we have Olivia Denson for Outlaws and Jamma Ray for Peninsula. There's some strong hits from the Outlaws blockers, but Jamma Ray's going to try and get through with a little help from her offense, Sharakuda. Both skaters toppling to the inside line. That means Jamma Ray can get right back up and go inside to keep passing through the engagement zone.
There's the call off there. I see 4 points there. I believe that is for the Outlaws, 0 for Peninsula.
On the line for Jam 12, we have Tank for the Outlaws and Kilmore Girls for the Peninsula Roller Derby. We're just under 18 minutes in this half.
There's the 5-second call. That brings us into jam number 12. Pack front call. Looks like that action's got to move forward towards turns 1 and 2.
Kilmore Girls getting out quickly after Tank. Tank is lead jammer for this jam. Both teams setting up for some defense to try to catch these jammers as they get through. Ooh, I think both may have scored some points there.
Looks like 2 for Peninsula, but Outlaws are able to get the full 4.
I think that was 3. Yeah, Outlaws 3 points. 2 points for Peninsula there.
Good catch. That brings us into jam 13. At the jam line for PRD, number 187, Luis Glock. And for the Outlaws, number 010, Danger Knoxville. Here comes Luis, who gains position ahead of Danger. But that position is going to tighten up and then widen again. Danger still behind. Both jammers looking for an opening. It's going to be Danger, though, who finds one on the inside track and gets that lead jam status.
Unfortunately, it looks like there was a cut track penalty on Luis Glock, leading us into a power jam for Outlaws Roller Derby.
That's right. Danger's coming back around to the back of the pack, looking for an opening on the outside, but can't quite find it.
Peninsula blockers setting up for some defense, but the offense sweeps the whole pack.
There's no
Oh.
pack call. Another track cut penalty as well for number 17 of Peninsula. It's Atomic Bombshell getting sent to the box. No pack call was made, which meant Danger was able to get through and earn a few more points for their team. They're now back around and have re-entered the pack, working on a few blockers there. Luis Glock now back on the track, working on some blockers, but there's the call for the end of the jam.
Coming up next in Jam 14, we have number 37, Anastasia for the Outlaws, and Domino Mo, number 4292 for Peninsula. Domino Mo breaking through the pack and making it out for lead jam. And it looks like Anastasia is also out. Outlaws setting up for some defense as Domino comes back around for a scoring pass. And calls it off. That's a 0-0 jam. All right, both teams working hard out there. Looks like next we have number 409, Olivia Denson, up against Jamma Ray for Peninsula Roller Derby. Oh, and there's a timeout. Looks like an official's timeout. Thank you to our officials, our skating officials and non-skating officials who make this game happen.
That's right. I see a few of our officials there on the infield huddling up. Likely talking about the game, but who's to say they're not talking about dinner plans a little bit later? Don't forget to head on over to Mare Island Brewing for our after party. That's at 850 Nimitz Avenue right here in Vallejo. Once again, if you don't feel like you've driven through a weird industrial, zombie-ridden landscape after crossing a bridge, you are not at the right Mare Island Brewing location. Once more, that's 850 Nimitz Avenue here in Vallejo, California.
That was really good. That rolling whistle ends the official timeout. Our next jam will be Jam 15 with just over 14 minutes left in this half. Peninsula blockers lined up right on the line for Olivia Denson. And Jamma Ray coming up into the Outlaws pack. Olivia's out as lead jammer. Jamma Ray getting recycled. Outlaws really good on these runbacks. Both jammers on the ground, trying to get past these blockers. And Olivia makes it out of the pack for a scoring pass.
Nicely done. And I do see that Critical Brit is there on the scoreboard as our jammer, but indeed we do see number 4-8, Jamma Ray is our jammer for PRD. They're pushing against that tripod there from the Outlaws, not gaining a whole lot of momentum, whereas Olivia Denson is pushing through and is through up front for another 4 points.
Really strong blocking from number 2 on the Outlaws, Hulk Smash. Giving Jamma Ray a hard time here. We have Chem Fatale for the Peninsula going to the box for a direction penalty. We have 2-4-1 from Outlaws going to the box for a low block. That's Jabberwocky.
Jabberwocky.
And the jam ends. I think we had a star pass in that previous jam, so Critical Brit did end up being the jammer after all.
Outlaws still lead. That's 200 points. They've just hit the double century mark. And that's 200 points to Peninsula Roller Derby's 72 points. 12.5 minutes left here in the bout. And there's the 5-second call.
Oh, actually, it's going to be a timeout. an official timeout because we got to
That's
fix the track.
right.
Thank you to our volunteers keeping the track in shape so our skaters know where the lines are.
And if you like what you're seeing today, you're in for some good news. Carquinez Quad Squad's competitive season is off and rolling, and the schedule is packed for 2025. Follow CQS socials on Instagram and Facebook at Carquinez Quad Squad to stay in the loop.
Coming up next, we have Kilmore girls on the line for Peninsula Roller Derby up against number 7 Tank. And there's the whistle to start the jam. Kilmore girls catching, just getting past on the outside line. And that's a penalty call on Tank, so that's a cut track. So we've got a power jam for Peninsula Roller Derby. Let's see what offense Peninsula can give their jammer. Kilmore girls making it through, making it through on the inside line. There you go. And Outlaws trying to set up for this tripod here, but Peninsula is not letting them set up. They're going to try to do some offense to get their jammer through without touching anybody. Let's see, Kilmore girls on the outside line, but gets hit out. Wow, that was a good hit. That was I can't quite see. Kilmore girls fighting against the tripod. Getting taken off the inside line, but can hop right back on the track and calls it off just as the Outlaws jammer is released from the box. Looks like both jammers will start the next jam. On the line for Peninsula for the next jam, we have number 187, Louise Glock, up against 010, Danger Knoxville. Both jammers stuck in the tripods, fighting really hard against these strong blockers, trying to find a way through. And looks like Louise makes it through. Nice, with just pushing past that last blocker to get lead jam. Peninsula defense still holding that jammer as a no-pack is called. When a no-pack's called, you have to stop blocking, so it looks like Sharakuda gets sent to the box for a penalty.
That's right. That means we're down 2 skaters for Peninsula Roller Derby. I saw the other skater, I believe that was 018 or 011 perhaps, getting sent to the penalty box for a illegal position call there. But that's the end of the jam. We have 10 minutes left here in the second half. Outlaws leading 200 to Peninsula Roller Derby's 79.
Really great work from both teams, fighting hard for each of these points. And they're off for Peninsula. That's Silly Goose jamming up against...
That's Anastasia from the Outlaws.
And Silly Goose is out. Nice hit out from Atomic Bombshell, but Anastasia is able to hop right back on the track. Looks like we've got a penalty for 247, Viper active.
I believe that was a legal position. And then we also have Scraps 011. That's a back block there getting sent to the penalty box.
Peninsula Roller Derby only has one blocker on the track right now. But here comes Shirakuda out of the penalty box. And Silly Goose coming around for another scoring pass, trying to get some offense from her blockers.
Absolutely. That one blocker is good news for Anastasia. Is able to get through and add 4 more points to the scoreboard. 8-point jam here for the Outlaws, and I suspect we're going to see 12 points in just a moment.
That was interesting. I just saw Silly Goose, the jammer, doing a little bit of blocking against the other team's jammer here. Let's see if there's any jammer hitting, as jammers can hit any point on the track. They don't have to be in the engagement zone. The blockers need to be in the engagement zone before they can make contact.
That's right. In fact, some of the most interesting jammer on jammer we see is frequently outside of the engagement zone when they're trying to vie for position there.
I saw some nice footwork there on the line from number 37, Anastasia.
Another legal position call there for number 3 of the Outlaws. And that brings us to the end of that jam. 60-point jam for the Outlaws. And the Peninsula Roller Derby is able to add 9 points to the scoreboard as well.
Peninsula Roller Derby starting at full strength. Outlaws have one blocker in the box.
That's right. And for the Outlaws, jamming number 409, Olivia Denson. And for Peninsula Roller Derby, we have 4292, Domino Mo at the jam line. Domino Mo is going to get that lead jam status as they're able to find an opening there on the outside track. They're now back around to the back of the pack just as Olivia Denson is able to get out. Big opening there for Domino Mo, was able to get through, add 4 points to the scoreboard for PRD before calling it off.
That was a really clean jam, really nice. Go through, score your 4 points, and call it off before the other jammer gets around.
Really well done by Domino Mo.
Up next on the line, we have Kilmore Girls for Peninsula and Tank for Outlaws. These jammers are really working hard out here.
At the jam line for Peninsula, number 555, the triple nickel herself, Kilmore Girls, up against number 7, Tank from the Outlaws. It looks like, yes indeed, it will be Tank who gets that lead jam status assessed. Big hit from number 16 of the Outlaws. That is Miss Morge knocking Kilmore Girls to the outside track, but Kilmore's able to get up, find an opening on the inside, and start working on those points.
Nice run back from Peninsula blockers there. That's 247 Viper active, recycling Tank to the inside line. Tank's fighting through and just gets past these Peninsula blockers. Same with Cage. Just as the jam is called off. That was not a penalty. That was a no pass, no penalty, because the blocker who hit her out went out of bounds as well. Moving right along, we got just under 6 minutes left in this jam. We have Louise Glock on the line for Peninsula Roller Derby, up against Anastasia for Outlaws.
That's right, 6 minutes remaining here in this bout. It looks like Outlaws were able to open that lead up a little bit, though they still have plenty of breathing room. Outlaws leading 220 to Peninsula Roller Derby's 93.
Skyscraper trying to do a little defense on the outside line, but not quick enough because Anastasia gets past and gets lead jammer.
That's a direction call there on number 2, Hulk Smash of the Outlaws. So they're going to go ahead and take a seat there at the bench, or excuse me, at the penalty box.
Louise Glock for Peninsula is out as well. Took the star off, but was able to get through just as a distraction to get out. And they're on a scoring pass now. Nice hit out from Critical Brit to send number 37 Anastasia to the inside line. Both packs working hard to keep their jammers contained. Louise Glock is out of the pack, coming around for another scoring pass. But not quite fast enough. Anastasia calls it off. That jam was 4 for Peninsula, 8 for Outlaws, with 4 minutes and 30 seconds left in this half. On the line for Outlaws is Olivia Denson, up against Domino Mo for Peninsula. Let's see how these skaters try to get through the pack this time. Domino Mo forcing a way through the pack for lead jammer.
Yeah,
nice
really
work.
Excellent hit there.
Peninsula blockers still containing Olivia on this initial pass. Doing a really great job, not even affected by the Outlaws offense. Just recycling around the top.
Domino Mo at the back of the pack. Big opening there on the inside, and Domino makes use of it. 4 points on the scoreboard for Peninsula as they reach that century mark on the score.
Outlaw jammers just finished her initial pass, so is coming up. Oh. And looks like the Outlaws pivot is getting sent to the penalty box.
That's right. That's 921 Oh Honey No getting sent for a direction call.
Both the pivots in the box. The jammers will be on their own for the next jam.
That's right, but only for a little bit. It looks like Peninsula pivot is standing, so they should be exiting that penalty box soon. 3 minutes left here in the second half of this bout.
It looks like that last jam brought Peninsula up to 101 points, crossing into the 100 point mark.
That's correct. At the jam line for Peninsula Roller Derby, 6'2", Silly Goose. And for the Outlaws, number 7, Tank. It's going to be the Goose who gets the lead jam status, but Tank is not far behind. Coming back around turn number 4 and into the straightaway to get some points there.
Nice jam.
Oh, and it looks like Goose is going to get called for a forearm there, so we're in a power jam there.
Oh, this is going to be...
the Outlaws. Tank trying to call the jam, but Tank is not lead jam. Not a whole lot of movement there.
This is going to be a 2-minute jam.
That's right. It looks like skaters have figured out what's going on now, so they have picked up positions again, and Tank is working on earning those points.
Peninsula doing a good job trying to block that jammer, but the Outlaws offense breaks apart their wall. Tank coming around for a scoring pass as the Outlaws line up for a sweep.
The Goose is now back on the track, re-entering the back of the pack. I heard a penalty there. That looks like it was for Peninsula 011 Scraps. I believe it was a legal position, but I didn't quite see or hear it. But I can confirm that Scraps is now sitting in the penalty box. Goose is back around, and the Tank is as well. 4 points for both teams on the scoreboard. It's a 12-point jam so far for the Outlaws. Peninsula just getting their first 4 points.
These 2-minute jams are tough. It's a lot of work to keep going for 2 minutes here. We have 12 seconds left. Silly Goose is at the back of the pack trying to make it through, make it past these Outlaw blockers. Tank coming around for another scoring pass. Scrapper released from the penalty box and doing a little defense. And that's the end of that jam.
Less than a minute remaining here in this bout. So I suspect we'll see just a few more jams unless we see a timeout or two.
I think the next jam should be the last jam.
Yeah, we'll see. There's still plenty of opportunity. There it is. There's the timeout for Peninsula. Peninsula's got 2 timeouts remaining. Outlaws haven't used a single timeout or a official review at all this bout. But from the Outlaws' perspective, they're up quite a bit, so they're going to want to let that clock run out. A little bit of a score adjustment there. Outlaws able to pick up 18 points in that last jam, whereas Peninsula was able to pick up 5 points. And once again, many thanks to Manny's Steakhouse in Vallejo for generously donating delicious food for our officials. Manny's has been so kind to donate food for many CQS events. Bon appetit to our beloved Zebras.
As we come to the end of this timeout, it looks like we have on the line number 7, Tank for Outlaws, and a new jammer for Peninsula, and number 6, Ridiculous Fun. The Tank is starting out in the penalty box, so it's a power jam for Peninsula Roller Derby. Both teams' blockers starting up at the top of the pack. Let's see if Outlaws try to run away. And the jammer is released. Really good offense from Peninsula to help their jammer get out. Outlaws doing a great job cycling up to the top, giving Ridiculous Fun a hard time.
Lots of spin moves there from Idic. Working on those 2 blockers, I see number 3 and I can't quite catch the other number of that blocker, but in either case, Idic is out and is starting to work on earning some points.
They are lead jam. Looks like Tank is also released from the penalty box as Idic is on their scoring pass.
Does look like it may be our last jam of the bout as the period clock has now run out. Minute 15 remaining in this jam, or at least until Idic calls it off.
Tank has made it out on their initial pass, coming around for a scoring pass. Idic is just getting past the last blocker for the Outlaws and calls it off. That should be a 4-point jam for Peninsula, 0 Outlaws. And we have an unofficial score of 110 Peninsula Roller Derby to 246 Outlaws Roller Derby. Great work from both teams. And that rolling whistle ends the game. Thank you so much to our officials for making this happen. Thank you to both teams, and thank you to you, the audience, for being here. Come join us at the track for some high fives, and join us at the after party at Mare Island Brewing Coal Sheds. We'll see you there.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us. My name is Mitch's Good Stitches. Have a great night.
I'm Z Machine. Thank you so much.